2, 1, 0.
Since the splitting of the atom only a few decades ago, and through his God-given genius of science, man, at last, has succeeded in penetrating further and further into the unknown vastness of space.
Listen to the sound of the sun and the stars. Sound picked up from outer space by radio telescope for some earthly usage still unknown. Challenge. The mystery of the great unknown is being explored unendingly by American engineers.
Here at Hat Creek, we're high and dry and isolated from interference by the mountains. It's only one of 4 in the world which operates at millimeter wavelengths. It's at the cutting edge of current technology.
I should like to tell you that I have seen some of the experiments shown in this film actually carried out at the All-Russian Physiological Congress. As you can imagine, technique is everything.
Yeah, I mean, so lately I've been hearing a lot about sort of, you know, the 60s is really being kind of a heyday for radio astronomy. You know, I mean, this thing is very kind of overbuilt. I mean, I think it's overbuilt because people wanted to build it very, very quickly, and in many ways they didn't really care how much it cost. You know, so well, you know, get more steel, you know, get more metal and more people, and you know, let's build the thing. And you know, I mean, science doesn't work like that anymore in most cases. I mean, today,
isolated organs can be brought to life, even though they've been removed from the animal's corpse some time after death. It can function as well in artificial conditions as in a living organism, and for this purpose, blood is introduced into the cardiac vessels.
I mean, a radio telescope is funny, right? Because I mean, this radio telescope could be completely non-operational. I mean, it's very difficult to tell. If they put a coat of paint on it, it's very difficult to tell whether or not a radio telescope is actually like, you know, whether it's, you know, $5,000 a year is being spent on it, or $500 million a year is being spent on it.
The pulse and breathing are normal.
I mean, you look at the way that the telescope is pointed, and you know, the horizon, and it's sort of kind of the, you know, up from the rocks kind of thing, and kind of like the bottom of the picture is, the sort of the most primeval sort of earth, large chunks of, black, dark rock, gets a little bit more kind of mottled and a little lighter. And then, you have like some kind of outbuildings and some ground and, some sort of foliage and things. And then you have this like sort of thing almost growing out of the kind of the rock. I mean, really, I think they would have been happier if it was like this, I mean, without the house and I think that sort of kind of captures it. You should Photoshop it. Maybe put like a night sky behind it.
The editor of my paper assigned me to cover a routine check of infraradiation flux on Galaxy M12. The crew members, in order to overcome the earthly gravity, have been subjected to a state of hibernation. That is, the human body had put through a congealing process, simulating an apparent death. At a preset time, under the impulses of an electric brain, the heart resumes its normal beat. The lungs begin their regular functioning, the blood flowing evenly again. In short, man is reacquiring his earthly faculties.
It's the same story at many places that I've been. It's the same at Brookhaven, at Arecibo, at Hat Creek, even at Greenbank in their like library. It smells the same. It smells like that magazine. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what that smell is, but it's like old books, and it smells like that all over Hat Creek. I mean, it smells like that at all these scientific places. And I think it sort of adds to like the fact that it just seems like sort of like, it's like old sort of academia kind of, I mean, not academia, but I don't kind of just, I mean, and a lot of the equipment is very old. I mean, they have some kind of newer equipment there, and the ATA control room, is not like that. I mean, if you go into the digital lab there, I mean, it's, it was built in 2004, 2005, so I mean, it's all kind of more modern things. There's a lot of space, like I mean, up at Hat Creek, it's like, I mean, there was like, I mean, it was just dead. I mean, there was way more kind of space than there needed to be, and that was at a time when like people were just coming to the realization that the ATA was not going to get funded for 350 dishes. But even then, I mean, there weren't that many people up there, and it was, I mean, it seemed a bit, I mean, at the time it didn't seem like that. At the time it seemed like we were like sort of bringing new life into the stuff, right? Like, you looked at some of that stuff and you thought, oh, well, we should bring some newer books or something. And, but kind of in hindsight, we were sort of walking through sort of the corpse of a radio observatory, and I don't think it's going to come back to life.
All the blood is drained out through the carotid artery. The heart has stopped.